You're watching the Top 5 to our second story now. The second day of a new round of technical talks between Iran and the 5 permanent members of the UN Security Council plus Germany has started in the Swiss city of Geneva. Experts from the two sides began negotiations over Iran's nuclear program on Thursday. The talks follow 4 days of similar discussions in Vienna last week. Iran walked out of the last round of talks after the US expanded its sanctions against Tehran. The added measures came as under a landmark deal in Geneva last month. The West had promised not to slap new sanctions on Iran. Tehran says it is ready to pick up the talks from where it left them after the EU Foreign Policy Chief, Catherine Ashton, assured it that the P5+1 countries, especially the US, would continue the negotiations in goodwill. We will be trying to talk with our correspondent in Geneva later on the Top 5. But now moving on to our third story, the U.S. rating agency Standard & Poor's says it has lowered the creditworthiness of the European Union due to the bloc's recent poor economic performance. The S&P says the EU has now lost its AAA rating because its cohesion has weakened and its financial profile has worsened. It says the rising tensions on budget negotiations among EU members are also a serious source of concern. The S&P announcement has now provoked reactions from the European Commission. The Commission says the rating agency is wrong to lower the EU's credit standing. It says EU members are not in a stress scenario over their budget negotiations, as speculated by S&P. Well, let's move on now to our previous story, the talks taking place in Geneva between Iran and the P5+1, the technical level talks. Our correspondent Narges Moballighi is with us on the line from Geneva with all the latest. Narges, if you can hear me, tell us about the second day of talks, whether we're expecting these talks to end today and how successful they've been up until now.
Yes, Homer. Well, the second day of talks, we believe, have started now, and Iran and the P5+1 are in extensive expert-level talks here in Geneva. We've been monitoring the situation, speaking to our contacts on the European side and on the Iranian side. And to tell you the truth, there's not a lot of information coming out right now. I think that that is where the talks are at. It really is these expert talks getting into the fine print and the nitty-gritty details of how this landmark deal is going to be implemented. And experts and those technical experts are, heads round the table right now, getting down to that serious work. Of course, we know discussions were halted last week after the US blacklisted 19 Iranian companies and individuals. And despite that break, diplomats coming into these talks, specifically some European diplomats, claimed that there had been a lot of progress in those 4 days up until that break in talks. And they had expressed hopes they could finish the discussions in this round. The Iranian Deputy Foreign Minister and top nuclear negotiator Abbas Araghchi, coming into the talks on Thursday, said that they will definitely take place Thursday and Friday, possibly over the weekend and early next week. To be honest, no indication at this point whether the talks will finish Friday night or not. You can look at that in 2 ways. One, that they really are getting to the serious stuff and things are moving very quickly, and that's why they haven't announced anything yet. On the other hand, it could be that they are trying to get through their stumbling blocks and they will need more time. We are monitoring the situation here close to the vicinity of these meetings, and of course we'll keep you up to date.
Thank you very much. Narges Moballighi, a correspondent with us on the line there from Geneva.